Hello YouTube, Intuitive Edge here. So how is everyone post the midterm elections? Uh, some people I'm sure are reeling and some people are excited. Um, it seems like people on both sides are finding things to be upset about. So, but other people see good things too. Um, so let's get into where we're going to be going in the next 3 months. There are some highly regarded spiritual teachers and others who have expressed that they feel like something coming into being in the next few weeks or months, like there's a shift or something happening. And I want to look into that and see what, if anything, we might be able to glean. My focus here tonight is going to be on the government of the United States. Specifically, we're going to look at the presidential branch, the executive branch. We're going to look at the Senate, the House, and the Judicial. We're going to look at these in the next 3 months during this transition time, kind of what's going on, what we're gearing up, what we're going to be seeing. So I'm just going to let that be. We're going to see what comes up in the cards. I have a special spread that I created just for this, similar to the monthly spread that I do with the four corners. So let me set this aside. Got my little heart-shaped organite piece there. And my little unity rock. Figured we could use a little unity for our country, especially in the next coming weeks and months and years. So I'm going to shuffle up the cards and pray for a little bit, and then we'll get started. All right, so I shuffled up the cards. Let's cut the deck. So we're going to be looking at what's going to be taking place in the executive branch. And then we're going to look at the Senate, the House, and the Judicial. Okay. So with the president, the executive branch, we have the card of giving up something to gain something better. I feel as though this seems to me that President Trump is going to be making some adjustments over the coming months. He's going to be very strategic in proposing any deals. He's going to try to bridge some gaps and work with people. But it feels like he might have to give a little in order to gain something else. So there's going to be some give and take, but some surrender in order to obtain what he's after and get what he wants. So we've got the moon on top of that. So this tells me that it's going to be a little tricky. Whatever he's got some dealings perhaps coming up that is going to be, the give and take is going to be a really tricky game. He's working with some, this is when a moon is reversed, it can mean like a deception or not seeing clearly, being not like having the veil, not being able to see. And I don't think that's him not being able to see. To me, this deceptive feel means that this give and take or needing to give something up is going to be a little tricky. And he's going to have to use some wisdom in making concessions, because he's working with some, quite frankly, he's working with people that hate his guts, and I think he knows that, obviously. And so this is like a balance you have to do when you have to work with people and you know that they hate you. You have to do things. Sometimes you have to give a little to make things happen and to make deals with people that you are forced to work with. Okay. Senate. We've got the Sea King. So initially what comes to me, and I don't know, I'm just going to throw this out there. If it's true or not, we'll find out. But what initially comes to me is that there's one of the contested Senate seats that went red, I think is going to flip back blue. I do think that the Senate is still going to remain in the Republican hands, but I think they might lose one more. Overall, I don't think it's going to have an effect. They'll still have a clear majority and a clear mandate, it seems, with the majority that they do have, gaining a couple of seats. But I think one of those might. I just feel like one of them might be contested and might go back the other way. Again, I don't know why I would pick that up, but that's what I see. Okay. Next is the Earth Tom. This is kind of what crosses. So what we have here is, yeah. So I feel like the Senate does have what they need. So it's like that great divide. If you look at this card, this cat is carrying a kitten, and they're going across this, like a ditch or a chasm. And I think that this is significant because it depicts moving across, like just getting over that finish line. And I think that is really what the Senate did with this last election by adding a couple more seats. It's like they're clearly over in this camp over here. Clearly more Republican than, even though there was a technical Republican majority in the last session, they had so many Republicans in name only that, a lot of never Trumpers with John McCain and others, that I don't think they really had a strong majority in the Senate. And so this time it feels like they've edged over that, and so there is a strong majority now. Let's see if there's anything else with this. Yeah, there does look to be some things, some with that tree in the background. There's something that they're going to be working on. This was strategic. This win for them was very important and very strategic to the goal of some of the things that the Senate wants to work on. And so with that majority, it looks like they'll be able to. I just feel like some growth and some positive changes that they're going to be able to do now. Now that they have more of a solid majority and not just a majority in name only. Okay. Next, House. Okay, so next card is the Nine of Fire for the House. This card, the imagery on this card is these cats sitting around a table, and they're kind of working out, conspiring with each other, doing some planning in the background. So I feel like this is indicative that there's some planning and some strategizing going on. I think that has already started with the new house that will be coming in at the beginning of the year that was just elected. They're already strategizing and planning which direction they want to go, what they want to focus on, and it feels like there's quite a few of them that are in agreement with where they want to go. What's crossing that? Now, we're two nines. Nine of Fire and Nine of Earth. And when I saw this card, the Nine of Earth, to me, it's the focus is on like looking through this window, and you're focusing on what you've accomplished, and to me this is like what they're focusing on, accomplishments and what they want to accomplish. This is very goal focused and pretty laser focused. Now I'm also kind of drawn to the picture of this cauldron in the background. The little black cauldron on the right over there. To me that feels a little funky, like a brew, like a quite literally a cauldron, like putting things in and making stuff fit. So I think they might be really looking at strategizing on how they can concoct their um, brew, and so to speak. This is just the imagery I'm getting. Um, so I think there's some, but this is very goal focused, very laser focused and goal oriented. But it does feel like some conspiring in the background. So already there's talk, meetings, and I see that pretty strongly into the next few weeks. Next, judicial. So interesting, we would have this struggle card coming up on the judicial branch. I do feel there is something still related to Judge Kavanaugh, um, whether he's being the subject of some more unwanted scrutiny, or something is still kind of hanging over him, not leaving him alone. Um, and I think this is kind of getting to him a little bit. I sense like this wanting to move on, but it's like there's just stuff kind of hanging over him um, that is unwanted, uncomfortable, and it's leaving him a little vulnerable. He probably needs our prayers still. Those. I hate to bring this up again, but those witches that did their hexes on him, there's probably still some lingering effects. I know that he's had a lot of prayer and some exorcism of, that there was a priest that was going to pray against that, but I think there still may be some lingering effects from that. Um, um, again, but I don't feel like it's long term. It feels like it's going to run itself out. But he may still feel a little vulnerable, and some unwanted attention. Unwanted attention. Okay. The priest crossing that is actually nice because it's not. It's on the upright again. The priest card is. This is about bringing things into conformity and a pattern, and having strength of character, belonging, fitting into the group. It does feel like there's going to be some cohesion, I think, with the justices. I think they, at least collegially, they get along. It does feel like there's a good mix there of people on the court. What am I seeing? Okay. Okay. Not exactly sure how to broach this, but I got a really weird feeling. Looking at this card, the priest is a very nice card, very powerful card, and all of a sudden I was just drawn to this black cat in the back, and it, like, all of these pillars represent, and I think there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that represents the 9 justices, but that one black one, and I feel like this represents Justice Kavanaugh in some way, and this black one is like, there's a bad apple in the bunch. Again, I feel like it's somebody that doesn't like Kavanaugh, but I could be wrong on that. But I feel like there's a bad apple in the Supreme Court. Like a seriously like a not a good not a good match, not a good vibe. Um, I don't know if that is a subversive character or somebody who's dangerous or they just don't like Kavanaugh or at first I was feeling like there's a good, a good chemistry, a good match, but then all of a sudden it's like this energy popped out but there's one person like that's not a good feel to it. Okay. Now I don't know how that will resolve, or if that person's gonna be leaving the court maybe. I don't think so. Not right now. So I don't know who that is or what that's about, but they've got some kind of dark energy about them. Interesting. I hate to say it. It feels to me like Justice Kavanaugh is gonna have to watch his back a little bit. He's obviously he already knows that, but I just feel like there's somebody who's really keeping an eye on him in the court. One of the court members, kind of just keeping an eye on him. I don't know what that means, but I don't get a good feel with it. I don't know what that's about. Okay, moving on. All right, what moves us forward? So the Three of Sky is about dealing with loss and heartache. And with it reversed, it can be a softening of the difficulty of that heartbreak or that heartache. And I think that's in the position of what moves us forward. It's moving past the losses in the House, losses in the Senate, and the way that the country is shifting, working through any grief or difficulties in that regard. I have to work through it. Have another major arcana. Third one of the night. This is the Hermit. This is the card of going within. This is the position of what are we leaving behind? What's the energy that we're moving past and leaving? Also, I feel like things are going to change moving forward. Working through loss, but I just feel like this shift, this balance shift, and okay, I didn't want to do this, but I do feel like it's like there's like things are going to get better in around February. And the whole point of wanting to do this video was to kind of see what that was a little more clearly, not just that there's this shift coming, because that's so vague. I wanted to kind of get a little clarity on that, but I do feel it feels like with like this shift, this is to me representing a shift, but over here it's like there's more coming. It's like getting brighter. So I guess I'll just throw that in with the others that are saying that as well, that things are going to improve. It's going to come in stages, in layers. There has to be like the foundation put down first in order for the next phase and the next thing to come, and then shifting it over. And I feel like, ooh, so there was already some layers, some things that had to happen. Obviously, this midterm was important. Um, but I feel like we're in the third stage out of four. I don't know what that means. But it feels like there's, like, we've already come through some of the things that had to be put in place. And once we're at that final stage, it's like hitting that button, that throttle that's going to shift everything over into this new phase. And it's better. It is better. There is something better about it. It feels better. It feels like there's more, it's welcoming, like it's a positive shift. And we're on our way up to that point where we are ready to push into that new direction. And don't worry if things look chaotic, okay? It's like when you renovate a house, sometimes you have to strip it down to the walls, and sometimes you have to knock walls out. Sometimes you have to, rip up the floor. But when you're done and it's all beautiful and you're moving in, it's like, it's so much better than it was. Anybody who's remodeled a house can relate. It's like that. It's like we have to kind of rip up the carpet a little. We have to kind of maybe shift some things, knock some walls out, put up others that are better. And once we're done with this remodel, it's going to be so much nicer. So much nicer. And this almost has a feel like that's more friendly. That hard feeling of animosity is softening a lot. Like a it's just more friendly, a more friendly feel. Something about moving in this new whatever direction, and we're almost there. We're almost there. It's going to be better. Again, I was hoping I would have like some, magical, thing that would just explain, oh, this is exactly what's going to happen. I don't quite, I get like feelings, but I do see it in stages, and we're in stage 3. Stage 4 is next. I don't know, stage 4, that's when things topple. That's when things, that's when the shift happens, and we're almost there. Okay. The Hermit. This is what's leaving behind, what we're getting rid of, what's leaving. And it's interesting, we have this introspection, this card of looking within and soul searching. And it's almost like this is a time when you're like, when you've had to kind of do soul searching, find out your purpose or your truth, and then move out. So maybe that's what we're leaving behind, is we're getting ready to move into something new. Nine of Sky is next. This is the overall card. Oh, the cat is having a nightmare. And then the cat will wake up and realize it was all just a dream, right? Sometimes things appear worse than they are. Sometimes when there's a transition or things have to change, it's uncomfortable. It can be scary. It can, like facing the unknown. We don't know what it's going to look like. I do feel that with this card, a lot of times grief and fear, when you wake up the next morning, it's like things aren't as bad as they looked. But it can be scary, so we just acknowledge that some people may have, difficulty in this transition time. But I do feel that things will get better. We just keep our nation in prayer. And I'm going to leave this here. This was interesting. Didn't quite go where, I didn't know where it would go, but I'm always surprised to see where the cards take me. So, all right. Hope everybody's doing well. I appreciate you stopping by my channel. If you liked it, leave a like. Please subscribe if you want to, and hit the bell for notifications of when I post new videos. And I will see you next time. This is Intuitive Edge, signing out. Bye-bye.